How much do you like TellTale, man?
I really love that company.
Really?
I really do. Yeah, I love that company a lot.
Okay, because I don't, and I did. Walking Dead was amazing. The Wolf Among Us was amazing. That's it. And like, I really was expecting a lot more out of Telltale because they were so great or making so much money that they could have like, gave you a game where you had more freedom to do things, action moments, things like that too. But then as well as have, those fucking what do you call that? Like choose your adventure type aspects of it. You could have easily done that. But the thing that sucks about what they became is that they became what they already were. And it's like, if you stay in a status quo, no matter if it's good or bad, it's going to get boring at some point. People are not going to buy the exact same thing over and over again. Especially when you get something like Minecraft. They lost the complete aspect of what Minecraft is. Minecraft is about fucking, building things and zombies and all this shit going on. And that story mode was absolutely terrible. I mean, awful. And then with Guardians and Batman, it's like, I want to punch shit. I want to do things. I don't want to choose my adventure. Are you fucking kidding me? And you could have added those things together like they did with Jurassic Park, things like that. But I feel like that's what, at the end of the day killed it.
There's some that absolutely pissed me off, and I feel like they needed to revise their formula a while ago. But I really got into the Telltale games with The Wolf Among Us. Mm-hmm. I really liked that the first time I played it, and that's what ultimately made me want to check out Walking Dead, which I got for free because a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I have this game already. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll play it." And that first season of The Walking Dead wasn't that bad. It was pretty good, and then it fell off a cliff for me with, unfortunately, no, Game of Thrones. I really? Absolutely despised that Game of Thrones game, and I didn't even finish the first season. Like, that's how pissed off I was.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you were, because this was actually a pretty big deal. I think many people were talking about this, like, oh, this is going to be fucking awesome. I can't
Because it was. It looked like it was going to be great. And a lot of the stuff that they were doing at the beginning, the first 2 or 3 episodes of that season were really well done. And then you started to see the Telltale cliches causing issues. Like, yeah, I didn't mind that there wasn't a lot of combat. I didn't mind that that the story was very tragic. I liked all that. It's Game of Thrones. It needs to be very tragic from jump. But then it started to do things like none of the choices mattered. They were telling one story and your choices didn't matter. Or there were characters that would switch wildly between the two decisions. There was too much that was clearly Telltale's influence and the limitations of what they could do with the stories, with not even the stories they tell, but with the games that they make, with a story that's sprawling and gigantic.
I love the choose your own adventure stuff, and Telltale was not perfect at it at all, because granted, even though I love the games that they make, it's like they did start feel formulaic. I mean, me and a friend, we're doing a Batman playthrough right now. As we're both playing Batman, and we're making different decisions. We're arguing with each other about like what decisions to make and stuff like that. And that made the experience more fun for me, because I feel like if I were to play it like by myself, it wouldn't be as fun. Like I made like a co-op experience for myself playing that Batman game with them. Because the thing is that decisions sometimes do not really matter in these games, because like it's trying to tell a story, it's trying to sell you on a story, and I understand that. But like, I think sometimes I'll get very angry, and I just buy into the story, because the Batman game, I did love the story of that game. And Walking Dead, I loved season 1. Season 1 to me was like freaking amazing. And this is me hating the TV show, by the way. And the Walking Dead video game got me into the comics, actually. That's what made me start reading the Walking Dead comics. And then season 2 came around. Season 2 wasn't that bad. But like, it just seemed like everything after season 2 was kind of awkward, And then I did like playing. There was another game they did, because they tried to do like a poker thing as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I did have fun with that game as well, because it was something more different, and you got characters from different series just playing poker with each other and stuff like that, and that was a lot of fun. And I hope they would try to dive into other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, one thing too is like I always felt like they should probably copy the template that L.A. Noire kind of put out there. I would have loved them to do like an L.A. Noire type thing with Batman, even, where it's like you go through Arkham and you do all these cool things, you have so much freedom, but instead of fighting, you solve shit. That would have been cool. But you know,
I think that's one of the things that ultimately, Telltale didn't make that next jump. I don't know if you guys remember Her Story, and there's another game called Late Shift that I really love. They're FMV game-ish in that they've got like actual video inside the game, and it's still that investigative. Like, I'm looking for clues, I'm making decisions. There's not a lot of action going on, kind of games. But I always felt like if Telltale tried to make a game, even just like Her Story, forgetting Late Shift, and Night Call, the other one that's coming out next year that I really want to get. Like, if they had switched to that, I feel like they could have saved themselves because they got into a routine. We're going to take a tie-in with a famous property, and then we're going to put our style of storytelling together and this horrible gaming engine that we've had made out of paper clips and cardboard boxes, and then hope we can make money. And yeah, at the end of the day, the house always wins.
And that's what surprises me, because it's like they partnered up with a lot of people, man. They partnered up with 2K with Borderlands, DC for Batman, Marvel with Guardians of the Galaxy, like
HBO and it was like HBO and George R. R. Martin for Game of Thrones.
It's just so weird to me.
Cedric saying that Telltale died because they didn't tell enough people that they were Batman. JT talking about nothing good purely made for kids.
Approach.
Yeah, exactly. JT saying nothing good is purely made for kids. Good content engages both kids and adults. Do you guys think that there's any heft to that? Like, do you guys agree with him at all? Let's start with you, Rufus.
I don't think that was their problem, honestly. Like, they had enough games that were kid friendly, but also adult friendly. I'll never let your children see anything Game of Thrones related. If they're under 14, that's not for them. But I don't think they ever really kind of shot at kids only. They made it enjoyable for all ages. It was just they didn't. You can't continue on without refreshing the formula a little bit, and they just got really formulaic in the wrong way possible.
The Telltale games, I feel like, was catered to both, unless it's like Luther said, Game of Thrones or whatever, and games kind of like because I feel like Batman wasn't tailored to kids either, honestly. So maybe it's one of those things that, yeah, there's a lot of Telltale games now that I think about it wasn't really catered to kids. It's more catered to us. So it's more like, yeah, like if you're just selling it to one market, sometimes the other market doesn't work all the time. I mean, sometimes that's not true, because you got Grand Theft Auto, you got Red Dead Redemption, games like that's more catered to us. But let's be real, we were kids at that time as well, and we played those Grand Theft Auto games and Red Dead Redemption. So there was something interesting in those kind of games for us, even as children.
They haven't laid off everybody and closed up shop. If they pare down the studio to make smaller experiences that take them in a direction like Late Shift and Her Story and Night Call, which again, I just have to say, I cannot wait to buy that game. If they take it in that direction where they kind of let go of the reins a little bit, do you think that it could survive as a smaller studio? Because Telltale is a name that's huge. Can it survive not being as big as it was?
I don't think so at all. I think this is I think what happened today is an example of why they didn't survive, honestly. I mean, and maybe if they did try to change it, maybe there's a chance, but I think people have gotten burned too many times.
If a Telltale Bethesda thing happened and they were making, say, like New Vegas 2 along with Obsidian, I think that would be one of those, oh man, this is perfect. This makes so much sense. Why didn't this happen before? And I think they would be in a much better position, because who really beats them as far as the stories they're telling are compelling stories. They don't know how to let go of the reins enough to make it a game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, for me personally, I think I'm almost just glad that this shit's happening. You know what I mean? I know it sounds shitty. It's almost like, I mean, I've said this about tons of things, like even Treyarch, like, oh, I want this to happen, but it is what it is. I mean, I know they're going to be doing something good at some point. With them doing something with Bethesda, dude, if that ever happens, that'd be so perfect. Or even something with Activision. Just put some money behind them and let them do some good shit, and don't be like fucking micromanaging them. Because apparently what they were saying too is that the reason why people are leaving is because of the toxic nature of the management. They were saying that they were complete assholes or some shit of that nature. So I'm like, okay, I always equate toxicity within social socializing. I feel like that's just another way of saying they're assholes. Like, I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's
I
what
would
it means.
agree, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
I was going to say one of the people who got laid off, he said that I got laid off from Telltale. None of my sleepless nights or long hours on weekends trying to ship a game on time got me servants today. Don't work overtime unless you're paid for it. Protect your health. Companies don't care about you. So
yeah, holy shit, dude, damn. So I don't know, people. It is what it is.